I want to see if Vaisravana's cheesy nature will come out in ZVP, or if believes cheesy nature will come out in PvZ, or maybe it's cheese versus cheese. And in that case, I actually kind of favor Vaisravana not. But I really, really hope we get some cheeky play because we don't see enough of that in PvZ anymore, really.
I feel like all you want is cheeky play, and then they're
I
like,
do, because
"Yeah,
I haven't
let's
seen any.
macro."
Yeah, and then I'm like, and then when I think they're gonna macro, it's suddenly like, oh, I'm Ling Bane all inning.
I casted a proxy Robo versus a proxy DT Shrine a couple weeks ago. That was the most beautiful cheese I've ever seen. Although, guys, here on Coda, hopefully we'll have some cheese or some cheekiness. In the top left-hand corner, the green Protoss player from Exile 5. It is Believe.
And the red Zerg player on the bottom right side, we have Vaisravana. All right, so we're gonna. Whoa. Oh, okay, never mind. So that is an early scout. It could mean cannon rush. It could not mean cannon rush and just an early scout. This is believe, so I'm hoping and expecting cannon rush. But I'm not entirely sure. I haven't actually seen him much about his PPZ specifically, but I feel like if he sees that it's a ends up being a hatch first, he will definitely go do it.
I agree. I think the reason why it was such an early pylon was it's a cannon rush where I'm going to go scout you, see if you're taking your natural, and that's why you send the first probe out. If you're going for a gateway, whatever, you generally hang back that first probe, and it's not quite the same build order. And you hang it back, throw it on the gate, but he does see the pool first and should know relatively quickly at home that okay, I know I need to put this down back there and gate in. Believe is at 250 minerals. Maybe he's going to go for Nexus first, but I was going to say maybe go for a gas block. It's always kind of funny. I'm just so used to Legacy of the Void, random people being like, "Psych, I'm gonna gas block you." Are you serious? Like, that actually is bad for you. I don't know why you're doing this to me. Like,
Yeah,
please
too
just
many
screw
people do weird
yourself.
stuff with Legacy right now, and I don't think Believe is going to do anything that weird. I believe that yeah, the Nexus first was the
Oh,
best
he
possible
believes
thing we
though.
could
Let's
do.
just
He
let's just
believes.
punny. Let's just be some punny stuff now.
He believes. He always believes. Yeah, the Nexus first here is the best thing I think he could do because when you see a pool first, that's like out of all like the standard like normal macro openings out of Zerg, that's like one of the just like safe but not really that greedy. And Nexus first just kind of gives you that big boost. You can defend the early lings that come out of a pool first pretty effectively. That pylon being on the low ground is going to be a little bit annoying for him, but he should be making a cannon
Leave needs to get
eventually.
that. Yeah, he does need to get that cannon up pretty quickly because there are a few lings heading across the map, and there's the cannon. Believe should be relatively okay, and I doubt
Yeah.
Vaisravana's can get anything done with this, but interesting kind of seeing this opening from Vaisravana's. Even though he's shown us he can be very cheesy, he's also got that, okay, I want to be safe, but I think Vaisravana's more of a reactionary Zerg player, as in, oh, very nice pylon goes
Oh.
down, will block, buying the cannon a couple seconds, but with that reactionary style, he can open up aggressive, and if he sees an opportunity, if he sees a chink in the armor, he can go to get damage done. And maybe he just didn't see that in that very first game we saw a while ago on the ZVZ. For now, though, Vaisravana takes a very quick third hatch and says, "You know what? You would Nexus first. I'm good." I'd love to see, even though it's a little bit weird, Stargate out of Believe.
That would be a little bit weird, but it's definitely something people have done. Like people like there was a trend for a little bit like a few months ago that I started noticing in some like Korean tournaments. And not really in like the bigger ones, but like I've been seeing people experiment with like purposely late Stargates. Like I saw like parting in a PVT go blink into like Stargate very late just to surprise Oracle. And I kind of believe does something like that. Some people do that because it's nice to have the Oracle for not you're not really getting it for drone kills when it's late, you're getting it for like the map control. But I think he's just gonna do some sort of passive. He could go for a two base all in. It's getting close to the time where he should be taking his natural gases if he's not. Uh Rosanova rather made a good choice on taking that third because Believe can't be aggressive anytime soon. His aggression, if he was going to do like a two base all in, will come within like the next 3 minutes based off the forge opening. And he is maybe not taking his natural gases. If that's the case, then he's going to do something cheeky on two. Oh, there he goes. Never mind. It's like he read my mind.
Maybe you're actually speaking directly into Believe's ear, and everything's
Oh,
going
that's
down
not
like
good.
that. I've always wondered about that, even though it's the most. What I thought would be really cool is it kind of goes back to Archon, or I guess like Allied Commander, or whatever. Is you need to have someone casting it, and they can hear the casters, so it all comes. It's like how well can you interpret what they're saying, or whatever. It's just a different mindset. It goes down to, oh man, this Overlord of Vaisravana, not huge, but we'll spot the gates. And by the way, the Stargate is out for Believe. Did just finish, and
Yeah.
I'm liking where Believe is going to kind of finish culminating around. For Vaisravana, though, on the right-hand side, he is getting Roach Warren, but I feel like it's more of the safety Roach Warren, like, oh crap, I do technically need a defense here, but still no layers starting, and is just getting up his third base economy, which, albeit, is completely fine. You do need that economy. You don't want to just throw a third hatch there and waste it. But on the other hand, it's still a little bit, I'm still a little bit worried for him, not choosing his tech quite yet.
Yeah, so
Maybe able to punish his third base, though.
he's gonna try, but when you do this Oracle thing, it's really nice because you have the scouting, you have this aggression you can do where you can maybe pick off a few drones, but it's also nice at defending your third from a Ling run by, trying to deny it, or otherwise, if, like some other techs, like if you had gone Robo, it'd be a little bit harder. If you go Blink, you could generally be able to hold it. But the Oracle just makes it so simple, because if like 12 Lings go to an attack that natural, and you don't have like the third, and you don't have a cannon there yet, the Oracle just comes in and sweeps them all out in seconds. So it's really nice, both defensively and offensively. It'll give them map control and safety to keep that third. And he made a second Oracle, I just noticed. So he's really trying to make sure that a Ling run by doesn't get him, and maybe try to get more aggression and scouting off.
Little bit of extra DPS from the Oracles, kind of emulating AoE attacks, and we'll see if that's enough, because there is a lot of Lings currently. 32 Lings, 10 Roaches, and the third base of Believe could possibly be at jeopardy. Thankfully, the Roaches, at least for Believe, do not have speed with the Lings. Oh, looking to maybe dive into the main base. Will go for that third base and get a decent surround right here. Beautiful force fields do go down, holding Believe, but still there's a lot of Lings, a lot of Roaches, and finally everything will be cleaned up, and there's Zealots this time. But I don't think there's going to be enough right here. Vaisravana is pushing through this really solidly, and the Mothership... Wait. The Mothership's being focused down.
Oh, he focused right... Oh...
I thought that was like the most not BM move, but I was like, maybe he's just like, I give up. That was pretty intense, though. For now, Vaisravana snipes the third base. The Oracles use all their energy on the Lings, and Vaisravana feel like has this Hydraless Den coming off the back of this, and desperately Believe is going for the DTs. Man, he's got to be kicking himself. Whether Pig or whoever is watching this, the rest of the team's like, there's a little checklist of, you know, what can you improve on, like not focus down your own units. Don't kill yourself.
Look, we've all done that a lot of times. The amount of times where I'm like attacking with stalkers.
I've
and
never
like,
actually done that though. Is the weird
not
thing.
with Photon
I've done other
Overcharge. I've
things.
never
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Not Photon Overcharge. I actually don't know how he made that mistake. Maybe he was trying to like right click or like attack move from the Nexus onto a Roach specifically, so it's not like hitting Lings. But he accidentally clicked his Mothership core and he didn't notice until it died. But yeah, that's gonna really hurt him. He has to spend another 100 gas on that Mothership core, which he already doesn't want to do because he had to spend so much gas in rebuilding his sentry count, and he needs to retake that third because he wasn't really set up to do an all-in. There are spore crawlers at each base, so I'm not sure if the DTs are gonna do much. He'd have to like really overcommit into them. What he might do is use them defensively against these Hydras if there's no Overseer around, because that could really save him.
Overseers definitely was saving with the Hydras. With the Hydra number currently, Vaisravana could defend at home, but they will be aggressive out on the map. No DTs being quite warped in yet, or at least aggressively. And for now, Vaisravana is accumulating another force. And I mean, sniped the third base once, and that was a very early third base come in for Believe. Not super early, maybe about a minute and a half early for him, but we'll see if he can make it again. This time, Believe, he's got the Sentry, he's got Void Rays, and Hydra has to be very careful not to overcommit and lose his lead. Vaisravana looking to snipe something natural. Believe. Oh, he's got to be really careful. There's one force and two forces. Will force field off a decent amount of Hydras. Does kill two Hydras, some Roaches, but the Lings do deter the Stalkers, taking up a little bit of their fire for a few seconds here. And I don't know if it's my graphics, but the Void Rays have really strange attacks now. What it looks like.
It does look a little different.
It is.
I've
really
never
weird.
paid attention.
All the No, it's the different. Oh, Vaisravana actually loses a decent amount of his Hydras right there. I think Believe could keep pushing. He's got to be really careful to not allow Vaisravana to accumulate a larger army, and all his Hydras are so low on health. Vaisravana cannot keep fighting this right here, and Believe I don't know if he's evened it up, but he's definitely secured his third base, and Vaisravana is hightailing it back to his hometown here. Fourth base off the back of this Vaisravana takes, and at the moment, upgrade-wise, is +1 to +1.
Vaisravana is getting his infestation pit. Usually this is for a hive, so I think he's going to try to, do a nice counterattack at the third while trying to defend at home. Actually, he's going back to the, I believe he's going back to the at home, which will be nice for him, kind of, but these lings are going to kill a few probes, which is going to be really annoying. Oh, only one, actually. Well, that's actually a good defense from him. He reacted just in time, but it did pull Believe back, so Vaisravana has a good, and can now set up a really good defensive position up at that potential, like, aggressive base that he could take there. So he's going to be safe from any push that Believe could do now. He's probably going to be a little bit greedy on his tech. He's going to get, yep, he's getting that hive right now so he can get his Vipers out so that he can blinding cloud those stalkers so that he can't get the maximum DPS. Maybe even pull a Void Ray, but I don't think he'd do that. Maybe. That might be a good decision at some point, but right now Believe is going for charge, which will help against a large amount of Hydras.
Believe, though, he does not have any sentries with his main force. I think he's got like 1 sentry. Yeah, total of 1 sentry, and the Lings get in the main beautifully. There's so many Hydras right here. Blinks is good, but I would say he needs Guardian Seal to go along with this to actually be able to trade efficiently. The Lings will be reassigned where they're attacking, and almost all the Hydras actually are taken out with this with relatively few Blinks, but in the main base, actually all the Lings are going to be cleaned up. Zealots warp in, do clean that up. 9 go down, but desperately right now, Vaisravana is just trying to kill whatever he can off the back of this. 14 more Hydras went down, but Believe took a phenomenal engagement for himself. 2-0 to the 1-0, but still, I feel like the Lings needed to engage with the Hydras and just shut down the Stalkers, make the Stalkers fire at the Lings and kind of confuse the AI of Believe, allowing the Hydras to get their DPS out on the Stalkers, but Lings went for the counterattack, which I liked. Not in the counterattack, they went just to kill a couple probes, which I liked, but this went from an amazing game for Vaisravana to slowly edging out into Believe's favor.
What really sucked for Vaisravana in that engagement was that not all of his Hydras were fighting. He didn't really get a good enough spread. And then the way that Believe blinked, he initially blinked a few back to not die, and then he blinked some into a concave.
Very nice concave.
And that really helped him able to like fight that army without having to pay attention to his Stalkers so he could go back home and warp in Zealots, because it's, you need it at some point to deal with that, but he also needs to blink. So as long as he can get a good enough concave, blinking is not as important. So that was a really nice move from Believe. And I think Vaisravana was a little bit overextending there. He has the lead, so I'm not entirely sure if he necessarily needed to do that at that point. I think he should have just waited until he had Vipers and done like a Roach Hydra Viper push.
There are Hydras out now, and Vipers are on the way. One is already out trying to accumulate some energy for himself. It's terrible cannibalism, I gotta tell you. If technically they're all like the same species, like I feel like they're all the same species. They all come out of the same larva, so slight bit of cannibalism for this Viper, but +3 is on the way. Interesting enough, +3 also for our Protoss player, but Vaisravana is trying to make one last stand, and honestly, he's finally maxed out now, but a good majority of that is his workers, and as you said, he needs a much better concave this time. Vaisravana does spot the top right-hand corner base, and he has shown some good micro and good multitasking with Lings. Maybe he sends some Lings, sends a small force to the top right, pulls the army out of position, and snipes something else. This time, the spellcasters are ready, and sadly, ByRada does not have really any High Templars or Sentries to counter them.
What sucks a little bit for Vaisravana's position right now is he's actually got a lot more Roaches now. Initially, he was very heavy on the Hydralisk, and Believe decided, okay, since he's heavy on the Hydralisk, I'm going to go, like, Charge Lot Archon, right? And that's really good. But now he has like 30 Roaches, and that's not so good versus the Roaches. So we're going to see how this pans out. He's dropping a Spire. I feel like this is going to be for a greater Spire rather than Mutas, so he can get his Broodlords out. While Believe does have a Stargate, he does not have a Fleet Beacon or more Stargates on the way. And here we got a counterattack. Well,
the entire army of Believe went up to the top right-hand corner. Exactly. It is a counterattack to a counterattack, and Vaisravana can get into a good position with the Vipers. He may be able to get some beautiful blinding clouds. There's not really a ton to abduct. Yes, you can do some stuff, but for now, there's a nice abduct, actually. Double Time Warp does go down. But the next as the natural base goes down, Vaisravana is going to hopefully try to get up into the main. I would have loved to see an early sentry be morphed into the main just to force field off that ramp, but Vaisravana is going to the base trades of base trades. Technically just a base trade, not double base trade, but main is going to be sniped. And now, Believe is going to be forced to fight up a ramp. This is terrible. I'd love to see one Blinding Cloud, but instead it will be consumed. And Vaisravana is looking so good. There's the storms, but his units are actually really nicely spread out, but there's just so much for Believe here.
Yeah, while Believe did trade out that army, he did lose like a decent amount of his natural and his main. And there's one thing that Protoss army has to be, like what it needs to do is trade super cost efficiently. Well, not super, but it has to trade cost efficiently. And while it did there, I think based on the economic situation of these two players, I think Vaisravana is still in a really good spot. Like if you can see right now, he's back up to 97 army supply, 103, true Zerg fashion. Lose his whole army, ready to attack again. And this is where Believe's going to be struggling a lot because he can't remax right now. He lost a lot in that huge committed attack. So he either has to take like the best engagement of his life for when Vaisravana decides to attack. Also a greater Spire on the way, and he has no real way of dealing with Broodlords once those come out.
As you said, Torkk, the biggest thing to mention is after that last battle, even though Vaisravana lost his army, he had like 3,000 minerals, 2,000 gas, and was able to completely remax on Roach Hydra. He's still got Vipers, though, and he is gunning for another base. A nice blink forward. We'll catch a couple units actually out of position, but this time there is just no AoE to really... Actually, there's the High Templars, but no feedbacks on the Vipers. Beautiful abduct, but kind of an awkward abduct right there. For now, though, with Believe being the aggressor in this situation, it does allow him to just run away and not worry about the Blinding Clouds. Nice feedbacks, but now his army is kind of thrown down to only Immortals and just not quite enough to do with Vaisravana. He needs more AoE. He may be able to reinforce the Stalkers, whatever, but I loved, even though it was a little overly aggressive, I loved what he was trying to do right there. And actually, can he make something happen? Vaisravana takes a little bit of a strange engagement.
Yeah, I think Vaisravana, instead of stepping towards, should definitely just spread out, which I think it'll still be fine, because he will barely win this fight, and he's already, like, remaxing-ish. He's getting a lot more supply, not necessarily remax, but there's definitely a lot more reinforcements on the way, and I'm not sure how... I know 3 Immortals can be good, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be good enough for whenever Vaisravana counters attack. Probably waiting for these Vipers to get their energy.
Vipers will just pull back, as you mentioned, get some energy for them. There's the Greater Spire and +1. Why not? Why not do that? But he doesn't have a huge bank at this point, and yes, it's gone back and forth, but still, it's a little bit worrisome. What I was just going to mention with Believe is, since, the Stalkers got to be super careful, is with him being aggressive, that does allow him to kind of deter the Vipers, especially without having the key like Colossus or whatever to be able to gank. So I do like that, not needing to worry about Blinding Clouds or anything in a defensive position where you can be thrown against a wall, and then the Blinding Clouds really get you. But for now, Believe... he's barely holding on, but does he have enough Torkk to fight another game? And Vaisravana has just been playing classic story mode Zerg. I'm going to throw every storm I have at you until you die, and the Vipers are ready to get a position. Vaisravana is just waiting for the perfect time.
He's going to go and attack that fourth to try to drag that his Believe's army into a really bad position. Because what he can do is quickly get up there instead of concave. So if Believe tries to attack up, he can't. Believe realizes this, I think, right now. So he's like backing up.
He doesn't even have any storm. Like he does not have. Literally, he just doesn't have. He doesn't have any AOE to deal with this.
He has to go like Automatron Micro.
It would be cool. It would definitely be cool. But there's some beautiful plays right there. Just push it back.
Yeah, but he's backed up into a corner. This is his last phase. I really barely count his natural as like a mining base right now. It's barely giving him any income. He's gonna lose his Templar Archives.
Currently 400, or actually 300 minerals a minute to 1,700. Vaisravana has got this, guys. This was game 1 of a best of 3. Vaisravana will push through this, desperately Believes trying to survive, but Vaisravana, I love the Blinding Clouds at the third base, actually made Believe push back, takes out the third, and now is just going to finish off this army with overwhelming odds. And there's the GG! Vaisravana up 1-0 versus Believe in this loser's match.
That was a really fun game. I feel like the whole time, Vaisravana was always in a little bit of a lead, and that, kind of snowballs in the end once he's able to get that bank and just constantly bash his head into Believe until he breaks, which is what we saw. He did, I think, mostly Vaisravana just played that super well. He took maybe one bad engagement where he sent the Lings into the main and had the Hydras fighting the Stalkers where he lost there. But killing 11 workers in the scenario that Believe was in after already losing his third person up on 4 bases, that ends up adding a lot, and he had a bank to remax off of that. So while it was a not necessarily a good engagement for him, it was also at the same time a one he can afford to do anyway, so it didn't really matter if he didn't win the engagement, he did damage.
One thing to point out is actually something you were talking about earlier, Torkk, in the previous matches, is that Vaisravana's macro is impeccable. Going into that, the reason why he can just keep going Roach Hydra and then actually throw away like one of his armies essentially to Stalker is because he had beautiful macro and just kept pumping units, got all the perfect larva injects, and really just nice macro. And we saw that in the very first game of the night, or sorry, actually, the very first game of Vaisravana versus ByRada in that ZVZ series. We saw Vaisravana just win because of the macro. Really nicely doing that. And by the way, race check. Believe is Terran. If I don't know, can he race switch?
I'm not sure if he would want to. Oh, wait.
I don't know. I mean, I believe is like one of the guys that he could have maybe done something strange like that. Wait, let me go to the lobby. Sorry, race check. Hawkeye, I will re-invite you guys. By the way, this is Rivals StarCraft 2 League. Invite to game. This is the Rivals StarCraft 2 League. Is Believe there? He's Protoss now. Believe didn't answer for such a long time when I said race check, and I was kind of like, wait a second, like, are you serious about